Great. Hi, y'all. My name is Mandy Medley. I'm one of the worker owners here at Pilsen Community Books. We're a bookstore, obviously, and a worker cooperative here. We've been here since 2020, and we are so honored tonight to celebrate this amazing book here. Let me grab it. Incantations for Rest. And we have two poets reading tonight, and I'll introduce them one at a time. Kira Tucker is a poet from Memphis and an MFA and MA candidate in poetry at Northwestern University. Kira's work appears in Tupelo Quarterly, The Spectacle, and elsewhere. A former editorial assistant for Tri Quarterly and a current writing tutor for incarcerated students in the Northwestern Prison Education Program, Kira has received fellowships from the Mellon Foundation, Tin House, and the Hurston Wright Foundation. She is currently at work on her latest creative project, all about dreams and dreaming, a poetic investigation and hopeful debut book collection spanning the mythos of the American dream and the landscapes of our collective unconscious.
Hello. I'm super excited to be here with you all this evening. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, that's not gonna work at all.
Okay. So yeah,
You're doing it though. Sorry, I forgot Chris is doing it.
No, it's working.
Maybe move a little closer to the mic. There you go.
Okay, what about now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So yeah, I'm super excited to be here with you all, celebrating Atena's book. And when she invited me to be a co-reader at this event, I was so honored, especially because some of her work has literally helped me push on so that I can write some of the work that I'll be sharing with you all here today. So this is just such a special occasion. But without further ado, I'll begin. Okay. Scatter Ring, West Helena, 2021. We huddle around the relic pecan tree, my Ken and I, our hums knelling across the home house yard. Let the circle be unbroken, we sing, looping the hymn's incantation on repeat. Our bent elbows touch, hands safer linked as our world's contagion grows. We pour my uncle's fresh ash around the tree trunk, an old tire still belts. In stories, he placed it at the sapling's base, this rubber wreath here before our feet. The year pops forward, got a brand new wheel. By and by, Lord, by and by. Did the timber swell against its rim, or let itself be held with time, like dust at rest in the walls of an urn? Our voices croon and climb for a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord. His vials empty like hourglasses at the final curve, remnants rising windward from the circle of him we've gathered to forge. In the sky, only the songs end for me, calls back such a hollow. Okay, this next poem is Edict for Negro Advancement, and it begins with an epigraph from Mae Jemison that reads, "The best way to make dreams come true is to wake up." Edict for Negro Advancement. Sew a pocket in your coat to keep your freedom papers safe. Patrollers will snag you like flypaper. Hope your skin is brighter than the shopping bag hanging by the parlor door. Pick up a paper route that pays, but keep off white folks' streets. Stow away your worth, a pallet holding paper. Strike for your right to the poll box. Learn your way through ivy estates and lace paper rights. Earn your own gold-sealed decree. Witness your life's unspooling, gauzy skein, crepe paper reel. Chant a litany of loss and centuries of song. Mask your rage as if to lacquer a mistake on your paper's white face. Yield your little dark ones this world you know won't keep them whole. They'll forge their own on paper. And I just wanted to say a little bit about that poem. It is a ghazal. And so I'm sure you all heard the repetition of the word paper. And conventional of the ghazal is for, in the last couplet, the poet to invoke their own name. And while I didn't do that exactly, I learned my parents named me from a baby book. And one of the translations of my first name, Kira, is Little Dark One. So I found a way to sneak that in the final couplet of that poem. Okay. This poem is called Away. And this poem comes out of an experience that I had working at a writing program in rural Virginia. You're going to hear where exactly when I read the poem. But I think this is one of the experiences that really made me pay a lot of attention to the mythology of place, especially in the American South. Although I had been, living and growing up in Memphis my whole life, it wasn't until I was in this really strange, haunted locale in rural Virginia that I really could palpably sense something that really needed to be written about. So this is called Away. Signs welcome visitors across the Powhatan. On this side of the river, I'm told, is T. Jeff's poplar forest retreat, and past that, Sheets and Liberty. They serve plantation mint tea here, where I hear the nearest black woman through my headphones. I sit wordless at the name of this place, Lynchburg, christened for a man who led mobs under a sun so hot it burned white. It's local tradition to bow at graves that name our dead. Snakes hide in wild violets while I sit lakeside and see my body in water. We seem to have the same storm each night that leaves the air drenched when it ends. I go to sleep knowing people lie in the ground below me. When I wake, I'll find my way back to the trees, where nothing rises up like morning mist. Okay, so this next poem, the title of it is Self-Assessment, June 2020. And the year and time period of its namesake was definitely one of the worst and hardest times of my life. For a lot of the public events that are invoked in the poem, but also because my dad became incredibly ill around this time, amidst the still early beginnings of the global pandemic in which we find ourselves. So the epigraph of this poem is a Gwendolyn Brooks line that reads, "There are cloudlets and things of cool silver in our dream. There are all of the things ethereal." And I took this line and basically decided to make a golden shovel. And so each word reads down the right margin of the poem. But I thought about Gwendolyn Brooks not only because she is the quintessential poet from which most golden shovels begin, but also because Gwendolyn Brooks knew how to take some of the most everyday, oppressive, and depressing conditions of Black living in this country and find moments of utmost beauty. And so I just feel, honored to now be writing in her literary legacy, honestly, like not even too far from where most of her masterpieces were composed right here in Chicago. So this is Self-Assessment, June 2020. Each night, I petition the prospect of rest. Too often, I drift there, recapping reports, So many arms are firing, even more limbs are igniting. Livability has lapsed into decrescendo. Outside, cloudlets of war gas steep the streets and are weeping. At once, I grieve and crave arrested breath to embody a blank among other nothings. Isolation ward nurses learn to imitate touch with gloves full of warm water. They soften the onset of death's blood stilling cool. Out of necessity, I sometimes picture mid run a miniature silver missile piercing an inch above my ear. I've saved enough in case of the occasion to need no donation campaign. Our martyrs are mounting, our living persists. A black dream to the Greeks meant a nightmare. Certain projectiles linger there, suffusing the sight of a cough for hours. Toppled bronze men are tarnishing in bolted vaults, one slaver's statue lost underwater. All our crisis lines are overloaded, ICUs overbooked. No measure of protest bars my want for self slaughter. Bedbound, I weather the news's breaking footage and casualty counts, such routine things. At last, I don't ask much else, just to become someone ethereal. Okay, um, thank you. Um, so as you have probably noticed, and as was mentioned in the bio earlier, I am someone who writes a lot about dreams and dreaming, in every sense of the word, including when I'm critiquing the nightmarish outcomes of the so-called American dream. So I have yet another dream poem to share with you. It is called Reminder. Reminder. I will wake up from another night of dreams, and you will be holding me as you have been, ever since we took this silhouette of us. This silhouette of us surviving a single wild day is how I now hold on to memories of our love. We remain framed by sand and seashells, glued to soft cloth and barely scratched glass. Sunsets, ocean, etching outlines of our journey worn, evening eclipsed bodies. So close, the seam dividing us is impossible to see at all in this light. And I have two more poems. The first of which is called Reverie. And I wrote this poem after being inspired by reading Deborah Paredes. She has a collection called The Year of the Dog, and in that collection, she writes a lot of poems using and repurposing popular idioms and phrases, like figures of speech. So I decided to do something in her honor. Reverie. Don't quit your day, dream come true. Come live the American job. Chase your wet dreams. They're made of a midsummer night, and who are you to disagree? Believe in your sweet pipe team. Defer no lucid truth. Catch the fever of your dreams. Never wake up and think it was all a manic pixie teen machine. A sea is the wish its waves make. To follow my wildest ancestors, perchance to have a dream a girl can only dare. And this is my final poem that I'll share. We're going to end where we began, back in West Helena, the origin of my matrilineal side of the family. And these two poems, the one I began with and the one I'm ending with, are companion poems. So on the page, you can see how they kind of call back to one another. So this is called Be Unbroken. What you fear is not a hollow, not Solomon's chasing after the wind, not the dread of being forgotten, no. You, like the hull of a ship, resist being laden with anchors that will not save you. In the hold, your forebears felt fluid well in their lungs, denied an emptiness essential for life. Their hymn is yours now. In this tradition, believers survive, sing, breathe before beats, hum between words every note you can hold on to. God fills the space where your conviction insists you see nothing. So much of Him exists in the clearest vessels. Look, it's through tradition believers survive the chasm of what it might mean not to. Live beyond your fears of this life's end. Be present, here, a part of this circle made complete by your closure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kira. That was wonderful. And when's your debut collection out?
Forthcoming.
Forthcoming. All right. I hope that we'll be celebrating it here. Please let me know. We'd love to carry it.
Okay.
And now it's my honor to introduce Atena again, whose book we're celebrating here tonight. Atena O is an unapologetically Black time-traveling poet activist who dwells in the past to survive the future. She writes towards beloved community, Black liberation, and collective imagination. She lives near the traditional homelands of the people of the Council of Three Fires and of the Menominee, Miami, and Ho-Chunk nations with her partner, pets, and 2 free Black children. Without further
Sure.
There we go.
Can we, everybody, give it up for Chris for providing our AV capacity here this evening. My wonderful partner holding down the button.
Hold it down. Hold it down.
Holding me down in every sense of the word. Duke. Kira, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your beautiful work and for sharing it with us and sharing this moment with me. I appreciate you so much. Kira and I met in the Hurston Wright Writers Week 2 years ago, I think, and we had the incredible honor of being in the company of a group of all Black writers, working together, workshopping our work together, reading each other's poems, giving each other feedback, and it was an incredible experience. And I'm so grateful. And I'm so grateful that we continue to be connected and continue to share work and be friends. And being in community with other writers is one of the most important things in my life, certainly in my creative life. And so many of those people are also my friends. And so I can't overstate how grateful I am for the experience of being in community with other artists. So thank you, Karen. So I'm going to get started with... And I also want to thank you, Kira, for bringing some ancestors into the room. I always appreciate that. I think it's really important when we're doing our generative and creative things. Okay, I'm going to take this off. I think it's really important when we're doing our generative and creative work to be mindful of the lineages that brought us to this moment, because none of our creation happens without the gifts and the faith and the creativity of our forebears and our ancestors. So that's really important. So a lot of times I like to start with this just in honor of the ancestral energy that brought us to this point. And this is called Storyteller's Invocation. Honor our ancestors, stories tucked into our hearts. Bless the stories reaching back to when the word began. Blessings to my siblings as we break the word apart. Touch the soul inside of it and build the word again. Okay, so along those lines, thank you. Thank you for snaps. Appreciate it. All my readings are like a little liturgical moment and kind of a service that happens. So next we have prayer for artists and creatives in honor of all of my friends here who I know are here glowing with creative energy. I appreciate you so much. Prayer for artists and creatives. Blessed be the persistent. May we honor our routines. Blessed be the audacious. May we take risks. Blessed be the humble. May we learn to fail and to learn from failure. Blessed be the curious. May we play and discover. Blessed be community. May we turn toward each other. So this next one, I wrote towards the beginning of the pandemic, and this was one of the poems that kind of rang a bell in my head and was like, you could probably get this published. You could probably make that happen. Because I read it, the day that I wrote it, I read it at an event I was on a panel at, and people were like, oh, can we get a copy of that? And I was like, no. I may not, actually. I'll be doing other things with this. And I did, so hey. So this is called Conspiracy. What if we tried to breathe together? Pull in, pull deep, release together. What would be born from a unified fulfillment of the bodily self and its undeniable need? What if we all try to breathe together? A shared breath is a moment, refreshment, and a reminder of our more than oneness. And if we continue, if we slow and quicken a pace with each other, a murmuration of lungs becomes one organ singing. And if we continue, learn each other's rhythms over time, rising and falling like waves, we become a perfect thing, a conspiracy dancing, a dance of need and met need, request and offering, feeding each other. What if we decided to breathe together? What if we open the airways? What if we unblock, unbind, unfetter the hands that feed us, the earth, the air, and the water that hold us and shape us? We're breathing together before we found ourselves existing, and so they will continue after we are gone. Imagine our final goodbye coming later than sooner. Imagine our final breaths in paradise. It's not too late to slow down, fall into the dance, catch the vibrating air, and release our lungs into song. Anything breathing cannot help but breathe, but breathing together is a choice we make. This one is called Sharing Losses. This is a little bitty. Loss binds us together, undeniably. Like the aching, low moan of a cello, you feel it first. Other senses follow. Feel it in that place where the keening cry of a wounded heart begins. In loss, we could be family. In that shared knowing and need. In these chances to rebirth kindness to each other. Okay, so this is one that I think I might have written either shortly before Hurston Wright, but I got some good feedback during Hurston Wright from my people. This one is called A Black Daughter Speaks of Rivers, which is clearly after Langston Hughes' um, famous, well-known poem, Negro Speaks of Rivers. So, A Black Daughter Speaks of Rivers. Oh, also, this is a visual poem. You have to look at it to understand it. And a lot of people don't understand it when they look at it. We could talk about it later if you if you want some information about what's going on visually with this poem, if you don't figure it out first. My blood swims in every waterway, every tributary. Between here and the delta, layers of my lineage are pounded into hot red clay, tint the rings of trees, are hewn across the scarred fields of southern farms. From the striving metal of plows and guns, shifting worlds of fingerprint echo across state lines on train car railings and traveling shoes, sacks and cases clutched in hands, rare and luminous keys and pens. I know our blood runs over and under the dirt, that our ghosts get louder as you follow down the Illinois Central Line and along its connections from Mississippi and Tennessee, tracking north and leaning on the sun. My family is not a tree but a river, 4 streams in, before our story gets lost in the din of the mighty Mississippi, on to ancestor oceans impossibly vast. My great 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 grandmothers are likely Molly, Missouri, Malvina, Adeline, features inked out by the blackness of their living, details erased by the whiteness of record. I know you are written somewhere. Name and story, planter's ledger, colonizer's census, family Bible, newspaper or grave. I need to know and speak your names. Poetry snapping always kind of makes me laugh. There are times where I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's totally appropriate right now. And other times I'm like, why are we doing this? But I appreciate any acknowledgement that you have to offer. Thank you so much. In addition to the things you've already heard about, another topic that comes up in my writing is neurodivergence. I have definitely been neurodivergent all my life, but did not receive any kind of diagnosis or, more importantly, treatment until I was about 40 years old. And whoo, what a difference it has made in my life. So I'm out here, spreading the good news about figure out what your brain is doing so you can harness that energy. You might not do meds, you might not need a diagnosis per se. They worked for me. I'm just saying, figure out what's happening and ride that out, because that's how this book got written. Pre-treatment, no book written. Post-treatment, book published. What? Coincidence? Not at all. So this one is called Attention Deficit Invocations. I prayed myself awake because sleep was groundless falling, no perspective, no visible horizon. I prayed for noise because danger was quiet. I was wary of stillness and ease. I prayed for deliverance from things forgotten. Dear God, I pray I don't hurt anyone. I pray the damage can be undone. Dear God, let me prove myself worthy. For this, I prayed again and again. My faith was in my failure. A home without sanctuary aches, wearing down the body that cannot rest and straining the ever-bracing heart. To those waiting on your own self-betrayal, my hope for you is trust. Rooted deep in love and unfolding, reaching out, green for the sun. To the vigilant and worn, counting on failure, my hope for you is rest in the cooling balm of forgiveness. Forgive yourself. It wasn't your fault. 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 May we all know the drift of peaceful sleep. May we all know the ease of safe home. Okay. And here are some parenting moments. The first time I read this, like at a reading, I was like, "Does anyone here have kids?" And like nobody had kids. And then someone was like, "In this economy," and that was hilarious. But as a person with kids, obviously, a lot of my writing has to do with the experience of being a parent. So this one is called "Humble Yourself Before the Brutal Lessons of the Free Black Child." My children are of another world, have glimpsed their godhood already, but haven't grasped mortality, my clumsy, dangerous babies. I'm attempting complex spell work in the dark, no muscle memory, no teacher. What little I know is cellular, what little I remember, ancestral. I hold my godlings underwater. They thrash until they realize they are breathing and need not destroy me. One day their godhood will outgrow mine, and they will swim beyond my reach, as it should be. If I am a wolf, you are a lion. If I am a river, you are a rock. If I am a star, you are a nova. Did I birth a black hole and or galaxy? If you're an explosion, I'll be a controlled burn. If you're a sharp edge, I'm a tempered blade. If we fight and I lose, it was so you could learn to lose and survive. Listen to lose. Pay attention and to learn to survive. Thank you for the encouraging tapping. Okay. Also, regarding young persons, and maybe other persons, this one is called Changeling Generation. Who knows how to bring up a changeling generation? Wave upon wave they come. Our fear of magic is not theirs to answer for. We had one job. We have one job. Trick babies, changing faces, changing places all along the way. How will we know the chrysalis from the rest of their iridescent selfhood? To recognize their true forms, we must unclutch rusty fingers and let go, let go, let go. Let them turn and try on all the jewels. Turn and see their shifting colors. Watch as they hold themselves up to the light. Turn, 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 surprised by the beauty, by boundless possibility. We have one job. To bring up a changeling child, you must pour love into an active volcano, tossing food and care into the searing mouth, sometimes falling in and crawling out, falling and crawling, again and again and again, keeping faith in rich soil for future gardens. You will not survive it on your own, and we cannot survive without them. The world has stolen nothing, has given us the children we need. Earth more generous than we may deserve. Protect these babies, furnace forged, trickster children with sparks in their smiles, chewing metal where we suckled stone. What we call death, they call transformation. Where we saw fearful endings, they invite us, laughing, to begin. Okay, I think I'm going to do two more. I have no concept of the passing of time, so if anything urgent is happening, please let me know because I am not going to be the one to figure it out. Um, okay, so this one from the book is called Facebook Vespers. Um, you kind of sometimes you can kind of tell which ones of these are very much pandemic poems. Definitely Facebook Vespers. Timestamp 7:16 p.m. Image text. Black words on a background of slender white silhouettes of trees reads, "What fortifies your spirit?" Apart from time, we gather in this age of isolation. We catch as catch can for restoration, even song, building across the wires. May I be cared for and not lonely. May I know peace. Alone or together, may I know beauty, and may beauty exist unseen. I give thanks for nature, earth, and water and fire. I give thanks for the word, story, and poem and song. May I share my gifts of creation as I am comforted by the gifts of others. May I be inspired by courageous struggle, and may others be inspired by me. We manage to, need to, be together as we find the song we sing. May it be so, all at once, or as you need. You would think by now I would have like some sense of like how this book is laid out. I have no idea. Like I know the first and the last and the rest. I'm like looking at the table of contents like everyone else. So this poem I wrote actually for something specific, which I don't often do, but I wrote this at the request of my friend Kelly Hayes, who also has a book coming out that is awesome called Let This Radicalize You Hate. See, I've gotten used to it now, so. Thank you, baby. Kelly's book is called Let This Radicalize You. She wrote with Miriam Kaba, and that's coming out on Haymarket Books, and you can pre-order it now. Woohoo! And but Kelly asked me to write this because we were setting up an event that was designed for collective grieving, because it was just when we had hit the 100,000 deaths counted in the COVID pandemic, and that that's when that was like an inconceivably large number of losses, and we had so few opportunities and outlets for public and collective grieving because we were still not knowing how much we could even be together in any kind of space. So this event was created so that we can talk about loss and grief and what was at stake if we didn't find ways to acknowledge what was lost and to grieve together. And so this is a poem I wrote for that event, and it's called Reckon, Reclaim. When you say you know the relationship isn't perfect, and it's code for all the red flags dotting your lawn, telling you where not to dig. How long have we been grieving the truth? When you fear the end of your weekend, even as it begins, and in the last hours pretend not to know that you do not know how you survive, going back, reaching into yourself to give your warm will over again. How long have we been grieving our freedom? When you reconnect with an old friend who reminds you of what could have been, who knows who you used to be and could be again, so your whole self pulls toward that feeling like a magnet, dizzy with the force of worth. How long have we been grieving our safety? The slithering haze of capitalism is thick and invisible, pushing into your lungs. You can taste its saccharine notes in the back of your throat every time you breathe. How long Have we been choking and heaving, so busy coughing? We forgot that we're still breathing. We forget we are still here. It's time to admit that we've known it's been so bad for so long, lifetimes, before these 14, 15, 18 months. How long have we been bereft and mourning, grieving our star-filled skies, our gardens, our homes, our sleep, our laughter, our people? Our right to create sanctuary is as fundamental as our heartbeats and dreaming, as necessary as skin touching skin. This season of reap and reckon, with enough hot screams and tears to fill the cold sky with clouds, has also ushered in the clearing of air that necessarily follows the storm, a taste of clean rain, a glimpse of blue sky, a whiff of rich earth, a touch of warm comfort after days and days and days. Remember what we were told to learn to live without. Remember all we were told we should throw away. Bless the dirt street rebellion of tending our gardens. May we always choose to feed ourselves and each other. Power to the sleepers, faithfully napping, healing and restoring. Rest is wealth that we must reclaim and redistribute. Look to the wise, disabled, divergent, and distant, who map the smooth, blank spaces, who find water in places that many write off as wasteland. They covered our medicine with trash. Let's take it back. Let's choose a world we can heal in, choose air and water and earth again and again. Choose laughter and care and warm skin. If we learn to protect our collectiveness, it can carry the weight of our grief like nothing else can. Let's be wolves who walked back through the veil, electrified, hungry, and ready to fight. If it's cool, I'll do one more. Baby, you can stop, honey. Oh my God, I love you so much. You're so good. All right, I'm gonna do one more if I can find it in the table of contents. Yay, I found it. Okay. In this poem, this is based on an experience that I had at Ravinia, at a concert at Ravinia, and it was just magical, and I really had to document it because there's something that happens when Black women get together to like celebrate something, and it's just like it's amazing. And I'm not even gonna try to really like describe it because that's why I wrote the poem. So, but it's really, really special. And if you see it happening, don't interrupt it and like get out of the way and just like let it happen. It's gonna be great. But so this one is called Giving Each Other Our Flowers. And this is for Black women, femmes, and genderqueer people everywhere. The sun was near to setting, and just steps from our party of three at the North Shore suburban Ravinia Festival, a wide circle was drawn on the crowded lawn, 20 chairs, and a long table draped in silver. It was clear from their outfits and the space they took up, rites of celebration were being observed. And then she appeared, tall, shoulders back, and just so comfortable. She came to let us know. I see you ladies. Priestess of the sisterhood of tight jeans, periwinkle braids piled up, blending with the twilight, undercut and beneficent smile. She initiated the ritual exchange of compliments, which naturally we returned, a volley of blossoming flowers escalating like fireworks, the easy delight of confessing admiration. She was glad to take a picture of us. I'll come back and take a pic with y'all later. And she floated back to her circle of sisters on a cloud of joy. Black women, my siblings, my sisters are a marvel. How many times have these moments turned my day around? The gentle touch of a sister's word saying, "Hey girl, I see you. Love that outfit. Okay, red shoes. Go ahead with those braids. Come through, goddess. Yes, I see you." I love us. Seeing each other in joy and beauty is an act of resistance, defiance. Surveilled one moment, invisible the next. They tell us, "We are watching you, and no, you don't matter." Our rituals, scattered and spontaneous, are life giving, life saving. I see you. I got you. I love us. We got us.
Hey, Queen.
That's my cousin, y'all. Thank you.
Thanks so much, everyone. We do have books if you don't have it yet for sale, and I'm sure you'd be very happy to sign.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thanks for joining
As long
us.
as you're willing to let us be indoors.
Of course. Thanks, everyone. Yeah.